Would you please take the roll call for our attendance?
Tom Broderick.
Here.
Paige Cotter-Saltimore.
Here.
Paul Fenton.
Here.
Darlene Hooper.
Here.
Sarah Coleman.
Here.
Deborah Spalding.
Here.
Jason Welch.
Present.
Sadie Burgess.
Here.
If you haven't done so already, would you please sign in so we have an accurate attendance record? The sign-in sheet is located on the table by the entrance. Thank you for your cooperation. Just for clarification to all of those in attendance, since there was a concern at the last meeting, the Boquet Valley Board of Education has in the past and will continue to do so to use a modified version of Robert's Rules of Order. If we use the full, complete version, we would be here until midnight. Also, I am capable of making a mistake or two since I'm new at this role. I apologize for that. Please excuse me if this happens. I assure you that with time and experience, I should improve. Welcome back, number 5, okay? Since the Board of Education was not allowed the opportunity to address the faculty and staff in person this year on opening day, I would like to make a public statement to them at this time. On behalf of the entire Board of Education, I would like to welcome you all back to Boquet Valley Central School. We hope that you had a wonderful summer break and it has allowed you the opportunity to rest, relax, and rejuvenate, and that you are now ready to embark upon the challenges that lie ahead during the new school year. We would also like to thank you for your time, effort, and dedication that you all put in on a daily basis in order to provide our students with a quality education and prepare them for the future. Education is one of the most challenging careers that there is, but also it is one of the most rewarding. Each and every one of you is shaping the lives of our students, and you should indeed be proud of your many contributions. Please know that the Board of Education is very proud of our teachers and staff, and we are committed to supporting you in whatever way is possible. We pledge to be honest and transparent and listen to your needs and concerns. Our aim is to create a health and safe environment in which our students, faculty, and staff are able to thrive and achieve all of our established goals. Like an artist, each one of you is sculpting the future of our students with your knowledge, encouragement, and inspiration. Take pride in your work and know that your dedicated efforts are truly recognized and appreciated. Best of luck to you all. To the student body, Sadie, I would like to welcome you and the entire student body back to Boquet Valley. We hope that you had a wonderful summer vacation and are ready for the challenges that lie ahead in the 2025-26 school year. We take pride in all of our students and their diverse abilities and tremendous accomplishments. We, as a board, are committed to provide the resources necessary in order for you to receive a high-quality education, one through which all students will be able to achieve success. We wish you a very successful year filled with positive relationships, challenging and productive academic studies, and the opportunity to make great strides in your personal growth and in various levels of your academic achievement. Our very best wishes for a very successful year to you all. Sadie, may I ask you how your first week was at Boquet Valley and what were your feelings as you were entering back into the classroom?
Thank you. We're getting used to new classes. We're doing elections for our classes rooms, like president and vice president, and we're getting used to the new phone rules. It's a very busy time of year, but I think we're excited.
You're excited. Wonderful. Well, we're happy to have you all back. Thank you for sharing that with us. We wish you and the entire student body only our best during the new year ahead. Executive session, number 6. Specifically, the board anticipates entering into executive session to discuss 6A, the medical, financial, credit, and employment history of a particular person or persons, and B, number 8, to discuss the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property or the proposed acquisition, sale, or exchange of securities, but only when publicly publicity would substantially affect the value of these things. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss items 6A and 6B?
Motion.
Paige, thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Deb. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. We anticipate being back in approximately
An hour.
an hour. Okay, hopefully sooner, but we'll try.
I do.
Okay, may I have a motion to return to reconvene the open session? Okay, Paul, thank you. And a second? Paige, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. We reconvene at 7:22. Approval of minutes. Now, can you hear? Better? Oh, thank you. Okay, number 7, approval of minutes. A, approve the adoption of the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
At this time, I'd like to move to amend the agenda to include discussion of the Lakeview handbook.
Okay, Mrs. Sullivan has made a motion to amend the agenda by adding a discussion of the Lakeview handbook to new business. Do I have a second to this motion?
I'll second.
Paul, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Any abstentions? Okay,
Can I-
motion to amend the agenda by adding the discussion of language in the Lakeview handbook.
Can we do a roll call for that?
Okay, sure. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Tom? Yes. Paul? Yes. Deb? Paige?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Sadie? Oh, I'm sorry. Sarah?
Yes.
And
Thank you.
yes,
And
Denny. Okay, so we will add that to the new business section. Do I have a motion to approve the adoption of the rest of the agenda?
I'll motion.
Paige, thank you. And a second?
Second.
Second, thank you, Tom. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion approved. 7B, approval of the minutes of the August 14th, 2025 board meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Deb. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion accepted. Number 8, public comment. Our agenda offers 2 public comment sections. Opinions, ideas, and concerns that are offered by the public will be considered and taken under advisement. We have set aside 15 minutes period, giving the audience time to share their thoughts with us. Please raise your hand to be acknowledged by the board president. When called upon, please identify yourself and give your address, limiting your comments to 3 minutes. Since we now have the use of microphones in order to be in compliant with the New York State regulations for open laws for school board meetings, I request that you, if you wish to make a comment, you please use the microphone that is set up in the middle of the room. Also, since our last month's public comment section far extended the 15-minute period allowed by the board, I'm requesting that you please limit your comments to 1 per person and keep to the 3-minute time per person expectation. Vice President Spalding, would you please let me know when 15 minutes are up? Okay, any public comments? Yes, Mrs. Reynolds.
Hi, I don't know if this is working. Heather Reynolds, Westport, New York. I've noticed that our board meetings have felt increasingly divisive and contentious, and if I'm being honest, that's the very reason I chose not to run for another term on the school board. I spent my final year unable to accomplish anything truly productive because of the personal agendas at play. That worries me. A school board is not meant to be a place for personal agendas or vendettas. It's meant to be a place where people come together with one goal: improving the education and opportunities for our students. We see what happens when politics become polarized in our larger world. It creates division, hostility, and ultimately harms the people who it should serve. I think we can all agree our children deserve better than that. The way this board interacts sets the tones for our entire district. Staff, students, and families are watching. If adults model collaboration, respect, solution-focused leadership, our students learn that too. I hope that moving forward, we can see less contention and more cooperation. The district is strongest when everyone is working with and not against each other, and doing this with the students at the center. Right now, it feels like some board members have forgotten they were elected to serve students, not themselves. When personal agendas overshadow student needs, it's not leadership, it's sabotage. If this board can't rise above personal vendettas, then it's the students who will pay the price. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mrs. Reynolds. We'll take them under consideration. Anyone else like to speak? No one else? Okay, if there's no other comments, then we will move on to number 9, financials. Do I have a motion to approve item 9A through 9A1 through 11?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you, Paul. And second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion on any of them? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion 9A, 1 through 11 is approved. Number 10, CSE, CPSE, and 504 recommendations. A, accept and approve the Committee on Preschool Special Education, Committee on Special Education, and Committee on 504 Plan recommendations as presented. Do I have a motion to approve the CSE, CPSE, and 504 recommendations as listed in 9A?
Motion.
Thank you, Paige. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion to approve 9A passes. Number 11, action items, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to act on and approve the items listed in 11A through E3? Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, number 12, personnel consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Let's see how far we go here. Do I have a motion for items 12A through U? And any motion, please?
I'll motion.
Okay, thank you. Second? Discussion. Oh, second. Did anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Deb. Any discussion on these items? I think there was a discussion on U.
I just wanted to clarify, you'll notice a strike through, paid through the Silvamo grant. So Silvamo was very generous with the grant they gave us for the backpack program. We are very appreciative of that. However, this stipend, just the stipend, is not paid from that particular grant. It's another grant through the Depot Theater that is picking up a majority of that stipend. But the rest of the grant that was approved earlier, I see I was all gonna pretend I knew what month that was, June or July probably, that we approved this Silvamo grant. That's all still fully intact. And again, we're very appreciative of that grant. So thank you to both those groups.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion is accepted. Number 13, policy. There is none at this particular time, so we'll move on to number 14, which is the business office reporting presentation. Okay, so we have
Yep, so Hayden, let me just.
Hayden, you're on.
I have no, I'll pull them up.
Really gonna test these glasses today. Sorry, I normally wear contacts and didn't work out this morning. So I do apologize. I have my back with you. So I just wanted to cover some things that the business office has been up to this summer. A lot of times when the teachers go away and students go away, that is our busiest time of year. Summer is filled with lots of late nights, early mornings, and lots of vendors coming in that we're working with constantly. So a couple things that we were able to accomplish this year. Our annual external audit has been completed. We completed it 2 weeks earlier than last year. Found out about 2 weeks before that they were coming, that they were moving us up 2 weeks, which was fantastic. Our external auditors from Telling and Women will be here. Typically they come to the September meeting. Due to some scheduling conflicts, they might not come until the October, or we are in September meeting, the October meeting. They did say due to some scheduling conflicts, they may not be here in October, but they will come in November. Just waiting on confirmation for that. At this time, there have been no findings in our audit this year. I say at this time because I haven't received the final report, but I would have known by now if they had found anything. Also very happy to report, they come usually in May or June every year and they do what's called testing. So they pull all of our payroll records, they pull all of our purchasing records, and they go through and they test them to make sure, did we have authorized purchase order? Did we have, if it's a non-PO payment, did we have proper authorizations? So they test all of that. And then on payroll, they will pull a paycheck and they look, was it board approved before it was paid? Is it in a contract, a collective bargaining agreement, anything like that? So they test all of that. This year's sample included about 125 different items and there were 0 findings in that. So that was very nice to hear. Especially this year, the business office has had some turnover and we've been short-staffed. So, it was nice to be able to maintain that level. The other thing that was completed that we do every single year is our payroll and attendance rollover. This is a very manual process. We have to go employee by position and manually program them in. I did have the thought this year as I was doing that to add in the automated option that our software has. So next year it'll be significantly faster, which will be nice. And then since July 1 up until August 31st, we processed and issued over 450 purchase orders. We closed out the 24-25 fiscal year well ahead of last year's, where we were last year. We did complete a new employee onboarding website that just went live, and I believe on the next slide I'll show you guys a picture of that. Kind of streamlining the onboarding process, making it a little bit easier, a little bit more friendly. That way, a lot of times we have employees that come from Plattsburgh or they come from Queensbury, they live all over, and this will make it a little bit easier so they don't have to come to us every single time. We can do it all online with them and walk them through it, still giving them the option to come in person if they would prefer. The other thing that was completed this summer, we undertook a year-long state aid review. So that is a private consultant who comes in, they review everything I've done for the past year to make sure that are we maximizing our state aid? Are we claiming everything that we can claim? It is the one time in my career that I wished they had a finding, but they didn't, which is good news. It means that we were doing everything correctly, but it is sometimes nice in those things to know that, hey, you can actually claim this, and we wouldn't have known that. But unfortunately, there were no findings. So we are maximizing all of our state aid at this time. School taxes, we do calculate the tax rate and issue the tax bills every year. So we've had about 3,800 parcels. We got all the tax rates done, everything submitted to the county, and tax bills went out, and we have been full force on tax collection season. So every day we're getting all of our taxes in. And then finally, all of our FS10Fs were completed. That is our grants. So at the end of the year, we have to submit a final report to the state, and they will reimburse us for the amount that we spent throughout the year. That is an incredibly tedious process. So it was nice this year to get those done very, very early. So kind of shout out to the administration, the district who was able to clean up those grants so I can get my reports in on time. So we had no issues this year, which was very nice. On the next slide, just a quick little overview. It's very, very small. When I built this slideshow, I thought we were at Mountain View and we were all gonna get a little bit closer together. So I apologize, it's a little bit small of a screen. But our new employee onboarding website, we built 3 different versions. We have a mobile version, we have a tablet version, as well as a laptop version or desktop. So we will send the link directly to the new employees. They fill out all their forms directly online. They all get submitted to the business office. We can process them very, very quickly. The second they hit submit, I have my forms, we're good to go. We did build a mobile version though, because obviously everyone's working on their phones now. Makes it a little bit easier, especially for our younger staff that's coming on that might not have checks. We need to avoid a check to set up their direct deposit, so now they can actually screenshot right on their phone their bank statement and just upload that, and I can get their account numbers from there. Whereas before they would have had to print it out and bring it to us. A little bit faster process. So we're excited to roll this out. We had our first employee completed today. So, and everything came in, which was nice. And then on the next slide, just some updates of what's coming up. We are officially entering what is called ST3 season. This is a 185-page report that we have to submit to the state every year. The state gives us 4 days to do that. No one ever meets that 4-day deadline. You have to get, this is a huge report. We have to get every single mile that was driven by every single bus. We have to report every single student that rode a bus. We have to get our students with disabilities counts. We have to get all of our IEP ratios. There's a lot that goes into this report, but it drives our state aid for next year. So it is a very important report. We have a hard deadline of October 15th this year to make sure that gets in. And that way, when the governor is preparing her budget proposal, they pull those numbers directly from that report, and that's what gives us our estimated state aids. So it is important that it is accurate for that time. So we're getting close. That has been started. Our STAR reimbursement application was submitted this morning, so that's what we get. You'll see when back in August when you approved the tax warrant, it's 8-point-something million. Can't remember right off the top of my head. We deduct out about 400,000, 500,000 of that, and then that money comes directly from the state for our STAR application. So that was completed this morning and submitted. Also undertaking our staff applications and verifications, that's for our high-cost students. We get an additional aid on them, so we make sure that we are calculating all of that and getting everything submitted. That is going to be done probably tomorrow afternoon. I have until January, so I'll look at a schedule on that one. And then we're waiting right now, we're looking at the 26-27 budget calendar that is typically presented to the board sometime, I believe, between October and December. Couple different things going on in the state right now, so we're just kind of monitoring those to make sure that, obviously last year we didn't get a final state budget till not long before the budget vote. So it was a lot of guessing and estimating. on that. So just watching that right now. And then the business office has been down a payroll specialist since April. And I'm very happy that we have a new, very highly qualified, highly recommended person coming in on September 29th who's ready to jump in and start hitting the ground running to get some payroll moving. Not that payroll hasn't been moving since then, but it is nice to have that off of my plate. And I'm sure Melissa is very excited to not have to dedicate 3 days a week of her time to doing that. And then finally, just some different things going on in the state. These things have all come out in the past couple weeks. We are going to see our ERS, that is our non-certified staff members. We pay a portion of their retirement every year, and we are going to see a very large increase coming up. So the state released their report a couple days ago saying to expect about 16.5% up from 15.2% of our salaries. So we're bracing for that big increase. That's an average though. It depends on how many employees you have in each tier. So our tier 4 members versus our tier 6 members, we pay completely different amounts. So that's really just an average, but the state is saying that those are going to start increasing. Whereas on the teacher side, the TRS retirement system is doing very well, very healthy system, has the cleanest audit out of all 50 states every year. Very, very good retirement system. They projected a 9.59% for our budget purposes this year, and they came in at 9.59. So it was very nice that I don't have to then go recalculate the budget. And then in not so great news, the state is projecting a $34 billion deficit. So that could potentially take a toll on school aid. It's just something to watch right now. We have no idea. The advocacy groups, all the lobbyist groups, no one has really released anything yet to say what's going on at the state level. So really, we're just waiting for that January 15th when the governor releases her budget to see where we might end up. And then on the good side, BOCES aidable salary cap did pass. That was discussed way back during the previous budget season, but we will actually start realizing those aid gains this coming year, which will be very nice. I believe that's all I have. Right? Yep.
Thank you. Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Do you have a program available for forecasting revenues, expenditures, fund balances, and enrollment projections for the next 3 to 5 years? I know some schools are utilizing those tools. Do you have that capability?
So I know exactly what tool you're referring to. I believe it's through Frontline. We don't currently subscribe to that just because in smaller districts, I can do the same thing in the same amount of time myself. So that is something during budget season that I start doing. I think last year I did a 5-year projection, and then I update it this coming year. So you guys will likely see that in your packet.
Can I just have forecast 5, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so I can just speak to that tool. So pre-merger, both districts use that tool, and it's phenomenal.
It's great.
However, it did not have the capacity to combine the historical data of the 2 districts.
Oh.
So it relies on the historical data to move forward. But now that we're,
Into them.
it might be worth exploring again. But that was why we got away from it.
Okay.
From Frontline, you mean?
I believe it's through Frontline.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can double check.
They send me the sales emails
Yeah.
every week, and the sales emails, get rid of them.
I have one more question.
Absolutely.
Do you also have the capability of providing us with key performance indicators such as expenditures per student, overtime pay, substitute teacher cost, and the ability to compare expenditures from year to year to indicate trends?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all able to be done right in our software right now.
Okay, great.
A little bit of
That
manual
would be helpful.
manipulation, but I can prepare that for the next board meeting.
Great, that would be very helpful. Okay, do you have any recommendations for the board regarding budget priorities or financial policies?
I would say out of our 16 component districts, Boquet Valley is probably one of the healthiest financially.
A little louder, Hayden.
Yeah. It is really nice to see that. As you know, I work in multiple districts, and it's a pleasure to be here because I'm not pulling my hair out when it comes to budget season. It's very, very nice. This district really maximizes all of their aid. And then with NICLAS, our investment account, we transfer like all of our taxes the day they come in. They go into that account. So we are getting the maximum possible interest on all of that money. The reserves are very healthy in this district as well, and those gain considerable interest every month. I believe our capital reserves gets somewhere between, depending on the month, $18,000 to $25,000 in interest.
Wonderful.
We get a lot of money through that account, so that is something that is very strong right now, and the interest rates are remaining quite high for some. Everyone knows that if anyone's gotten a loan for a house or anything recently, you know your interest rates are crazy, but it's the same thing on the investment side, so it is very nice that we're getting that money. Once we get to budget season, we'll definitely be talking a lot more about projections and recommendations.
Yeah, one more thing from a long-term financial planning standpoint, we are still receiving incentive aid right now. I would ask if we can model, the financial health of the district without that incentive aid, because that day is coming.
Yes,
Good question.
absolutely, we can do that, especially when we have budget season.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, number 15, board discussions, old business, future of our facilities. Now, for clarification purposes, and an effort to be honest and completely transparent with all of you, I would like to clarify the purpose of including the discussion of the future of our facilities at our last board meeting. There seemed to be a lot of confusion regarding the topic. Initially, there was a request by a board member to include a discussion of the closure of Lakeview campus by September. After discussing the ramifications of this action, it was agreed upon that it would be an impossible task at that time, being so close to the opening of school. It was agreed, however, that the focus of the discussion should be on the future of our facilities. Dr. Meyer was notified of the amended request more than a week prior to the meeting. The board member entered last month's meeting intending to have a discussion that night to close the Lakeview campus by September. Also, the board appreciates and supports the work of the Facilities Committee, and I personally believe intends to support their recommendations, contingent, of course, on State Ed's approval. There are, however, many unknowns at this point, and I don't think it hurts to make plans for the future. With that being said, I would like now to get the opinion of our student representative. Sadie, I'm happy that after getting your feet wet by making observations for the past 2 meetings, that you're now ready to willing to join in on our discussions. I'm very interested in your opinion on this topic. You've been a student, I believe, at both Lakeview and Mountain View campuses. What is your view on the possibility of moving all of the students to Mountain View for their pre-K through 12 educational experience?
I can't speak for every student, but I have seen many of my classmates learn about the combining of the student body with no renovations, and it's been met with shock, confusion, and many concerns about how our building will be affected and how our learning will be affected by a lack of space in the building without any renovations.
Okay. Now, is basically the space factor the biggest concern?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Do you think that the majority of the students would be in favor of this move if there was some way that we could eliminate the space factor and not having to eliminate important classes, extra classes, or have a crowded situation?
I think we are very much looking forward to having the younger students here, but not at the expense of our own learning. And I don't know if the space, but we need an addition.
Okay.
We can't deal with that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your input. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else who would like to join in on this discussion now? Any of the board members?
Josh, were you going to bring the information?
I do have some
Okay,
some
your
slides.
update?
Whenever I
Okay.
get to go.
Yep, I said, Dr. Meyer, you stated at the last meeting that you had some information related to this topic, so take it away.
Okay, so I don't believe that much of this is like brand new information. I think that probably in some capacity it's been presented before, but just getting it again back in front of people. Prior to doing this, though, I do want to talk about an issue that I don't think we've really talked about publicly, and not that we should make all of our decisions around parking, right? But parking's a thing. Parking is a concern, really on both campuses. This campus, just based on data from the last week, we're looking at between 50 and 60 cars that are parked either on this campus or right on the road outside. That combined with the parking on the other campus, Mountain View, that is already maxed out. We don't allow students to park on campus. They make use of the TOPS parking lot. And the first day of school, they exceeded the number of spaces that they were allowed to use. So parking is absolutely something that needs to be part of this discussion moving forward as well. So just putting that out there. Okay, we often, one of the most common things that get brought up by people repeatedly, and I think that we've answered this repeatedly, is the size of some of the spaces that some people are using. I am probably number one on that list. Addressing that, as we talk about square footage, we looked at needing a new building or an addition to get us up to the neighborhood of between 110 and 120,000 square feet. That's the amount of space that we need. You do the math, add the two spaces together, we have around 160, 170,000 square feet. So there's extra space between the two buildings. The space isn't necessarily the issue, it's the configuration of the space. So I absolutely, I have never disagreed with the statement that I could operate out of a smaller office. But there is a full-size classroom that's available because we have about 40,000 square feet that is basically extra. So just talking about that first. But you look at the number of full-size classrooms or half-size classrooms or offices or quarter classrooms or small offices, you can see the numbers on both campuses here. But I think this really, if you look at the map, this is really where you can see it the best. So really just talking about the Mountain View campus, but keeping this number in mind of the rooms being used on the Lakeview campus. So Mountain View campus, this is the main floor of the Mountain View campus, and upstairs, right? So a little bit smaller footprint upstairs, and certainly much smaller in the basement area. But what this looks like, sorry, this is what I was looking for, sorry. So if you look at this, how the space is actually used on the main floor, I believe there are 3 spaces that are, I maybe would use the word surplus or extra space right now. And that would be these yellow spaces, which currently it's my office, the district clerk's office, and the new vision space. Now, the new vision space, we rent that out to CVES, okay? That brings in 15 students this year. I think we've had as many as like 18 or 19 students in a given year. But each year, we've had a student as part of that program. Number one, for the region, it makes sense to have it on our campus because the proximity to the hospital, students can walk to the hospital. And 2, if it was at an alternate site, we would then have to transport that student there. So it does ease a little bit of a transportation burden for us. So we are happy to be able to offer the service for CVS. But if space became a major concern, it certainly could be on the table. So that would give us, if you look at these 3 spaces, 3 full-size classrooms on that main floor that potentially could be used. Pointing out that the superintendent district clerk, we still need to work somewhere. We need some space of some kind, but certainly not full-size classrooms. So that's what that looks like, 3 classrooms there. You look at the upstairs space, we have really one area right in the middle here that is used for study hall and for a lot of our tests, like our bigger tests, like SATs, PSATs, reading exams, those kinds of things are given out of that space, also used for testing accommodations and a variety of other things like that. We do have that space on the upper floor as well. so you'll notice that that space is yellow, if you can see that behind there. And in the home ec space, I did change the color of the home ec space because of course, that is certainly not used all day. However, it's a unique space where we still need the space designed the way it is, but might be able to get creative about how we could use that space in some other periods throughout the day. So really, we're talking one space that we could make available upstairs. And then in the basement, we have one classroom area that is being used for storage for a couple of reasons. We don't have the need at this time to require someone to teach down there, but we've also had a lot of pushback. Pushback may not be the right word. Not a lot of interest in any teacher using that space. They prefer not being in the basement. So if you add all those spaces together, so this one on the basement, the 3 on the first floor, and the 1 on the second floor, that's 5 classrooms. Then we go back to this chart, we're looking at 23 classrooms that are being used here, 12 half classrooms, and 3 of these quarter classrooms. So that's a lot of space. Those 5 spaces do not make up this full 77,000 square feet. The next argument that we often hear, looking at these spaces are, well, are those classrooms used all day? And the short answer is yes, in that, does that mean that there's a scheduled class in there all day? And no, there's absolutely not. However, that doesn't mean that the teachers are not in there with students. That doesn't mean that the teacher's not in there prepping for their upcoming class. And I absolutely know that historically, some teachers have taught on carts and moved around classrooms, and they've made other uses of spacing, shared spaces, but that is such an antiquated model. And to want that for our teachers and to want that for our students is just not a thought we should be having in 2025. So these spaces plus a little bit of flexibility in that home ec space, that, to Sadie's point, would be the spaces that are available, and there's no way to get all those students in there without adding a space. If we design a school program that fit in that space, sure. We could cut half our elementary, go down to one section of elementary, cut every elective we have. We could easily fit all our students in that space, no problem whatsoever. But offering the robust program that we have, which for a district our size is incredible. One of the reasons, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I think it's worth talking about right now. If you compare our district to the other districts in our region, we didn't see the immediate effects of the merger money from the standpoint that all the other districts that were struggling financially got COVID money almost at the same time, right? Sable Valley is a good example. They hired 21 full-time positions with that COVID money and were able to offer really robust programming. They have now cut many of those teachers. Saranac Lake, Tupper Lake, Lake Placid, these districts who use that money to expand their programming and now had to draw that back because that money ran out. We're not there. Now we have still not spent $1 of our COVID money, or excuse me, $1 of the merger money. We've been able to put that all in reserves. We had that COVID money that we used very wisely, used very little of that to hire new positions, but been able to maintain this very robust program. And if you compare our districts to districts twice our size, we are offering, our course catalog is phenomenal. And I am so proud of our administrators and our teachers for being able to offer that program. And to cut any of that when our vision talks about the opportunities that we have for our students would be tragic, just because we are trying to cram kids into one building when we have 2 buildings that are useful. And we, of course, know all the problems with both buildings. So that's my little soapbox right there. And I guess the exclamation point on that is, as Hayden said, financially we're doing great, right? So it's not like we're going to have financial needs to be cutting these programs anytime soon. The end.
Thank you, Dr. Meyer. That was a very thorough explanation and it did help me to understand your position a little bit better. Any other comments from any of the other board members?
My comment, I was pretty clear, I felt last month. I don't see how this would benefit the children at all. And my question is, why would we ask the students to get by with less? Why do we want to give them less space? Why do we want to give them less programming when we have the option and are doing it now?
Well, I think our intention of having this discussion is so that we can plan ahead for the future, because there are a lot of unknowns right now. We don't know if the state is going to approve of what we have sent into state ed. We don't know if the voters are going to be supportive. There are a lot of unknowns right now, so it never hurts to have a plan B and to be thinking about the future. I don't have all the answers myself, and that's why we're here to discuss this, hear different viewpoints, and hopefully together we can come up with a plan. Okay? Anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Okay, all right, thank you again, Dr. Meyer. All right, we're under new business now. And Mrs. Spalding, since you made the motion to include this item, would you like to start the discussion?
Yeah, I just had, it has to do with the Lakeview handbook. I just have a problem with one section of it. And I just would like to see the wording changed on that.
Okay,
Can I ask a clarifying question?
I'm sorry.
Just a clarifying question, just so we're talking about the Lakeview handbook that's written by the principals through committee work for their employees that no other Board of Education approves and that we have never approved. Is that the handbook that we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, just want to be sure. Thank you.
okay. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add? I do have something I'd like to say. Typically, a staff handbook is an organized listing of district policies that pertain directly to the staff on a day-to-day basis. According to Dr. Meyer, our school attorney, staff handbooks do not need to be approved by the Board of Education because they contain the policies that have already been approved by the Board of Education. Now, when I examined both of these handbooks thoroughly, the Mountain View handbook appeared to be an acceptable accumulation of approved board policies for the staff's reference. The Lakeview staff handbook, however, contained a section under confidentiality, which appeared to me to be problematic immediately. The inclusion of the language staff must not communicate with Board of Education members regarding school matters outside of established protocols, and any breach of confidentiality or unauthorized communication with families or board members may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination as aligned with district policy and applicable contracts was very concerning to me. Personally, I feel that totally prohibiting staff from speaking to Board of Education members could be interpreted as an infringement of their rights. Staff members are citizens and employees with constitutional rights. I certainly agree that confidentiality regarding student information should be an utmost concern for our district, as we need to comply with our obligations under FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and I also support the use of the chain of command when issues occur for the efficient management of issues. But I feel that it's problematic to say the staff are outright prohibited from communicating with board members and could face disciplinary actions up to termination for doing so. This language could possibly be interpreted as an infringement on employees' First Amendment rights, their labor union rights, Employees may have the right to raise concerns directly to elected officials, including board members, about working conditions and whistleblower protections. Federal and state law protect employees who report misconduct, fraud, and safety violations. If a policy says you cannot talk to board members or you could be fired, that could be possibly seen as illegal retaliation or prior restraint. The inclusion of the language discipline up to termination for speaking to a board member could possibly result in legal issues. Disciplining or firing someone solely for the communicating with a board member could possibly be challenged as unlawful if the communication involves their protected speech rights. Although it has been told to us that this section is not unlawful, I personally believe that it is problematic in the aforementioned ways, and I recommend that it be revised to include only policy language that has been approved previously by the Board of Education. I also recommend that our board policy be changed to include the approval of all handbooks by the Board of Education prior to distribution to avoid any future problems. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Deb.
Oh, wait a minute.
We're done with discussion? You're
well,
ending discussion right there?
Is anyone else?
Yes, please, and thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So just to clarify, so and you said numerous times that was your opinion, and that's great that that's your interpretation of that. Our attorney disagrees with that. Our attorney believes that this is in line with our policy. Our attorney believes that the language is fine. He had no issue with the language. You also do not have the ability to change a policy on the spot like that. You can't just change a district policy right on the spot to then allow you to approve all the handbooks. This language is talking about including termination, and you're not paying attention to the final line. As aligned with district policy and applicable contracts, we can terminate any employee as long as it aligns with district policy and applicable contracts. That is simply a fact. That is what any employer does. That is what any public employer does. They have the ability to do that. And there is no way, moments ago, I can have Bridget read it back, but you said policy, none at this time, and now 20 minutes later, you're gonna say we're gonna change a policy?
No, I'm not at this.
But you had legal concerns about this and not about what you're doing?
No.
No, please proceed.
Excuse me, Dr. Meyer, but I'm just reiterating concerns that I have. I have researched this, and it is a concern by many, and I have used AI-generated educational
As your legal resource.
No, I
Yeah.
had also checked it
No,
out with
great.
another legal resource as well.
That was
And they
board
thought-
approved?
Then they told me that it was above and beyond. It was too much.
But
And
our
it
board
could-
approved attorney gave you a response that said it was fine.
It could be interpreted as a possibly problematic in the future. So I think the board has an opportunity to discuss this and decide if they want to accept this language that is not policy language, or if they want to revise it. And we are meeting as a policy committee in a few weeks. So anything related to policy changes can be done there, okay? But I'm just suggesting that perhaps in the future, we approve student handbooks, we approve parent handbooks, we approve all these other handbooks, but why do we not have the opportunity to approve staff handbooks?
You're not suggesting that perhaps we do that in the future. You literally just made a motion to do that.
Excuse me. This is not a productive conversation. Can we table this for a private discussion between the two of you? Or we can, this is not a productive conversation for this
Thank you,
part of the meeting.
thank
I
you.
think it's really good as a citizen to hear this. This is ridiculous. I want to know, Darlene.
I'm sorry, it's not,
No,
We have another public comment at the
no,
end.
public comment at the
I'm
end. is-
I'm sorry, I'm
I
fine.
want to hear your comments after.
Okay, well, we will table this then for further
For
discussion.
policy, I mean, you just said we're at your meeting. I'm not part of the policy committee, so I can't say that I will be at that. But if we're having a policy committee meeting, can we have this conversation during that, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I would like to say, I think you're reading into that paragraph and taking it out of context. I think the spirit of that is encouraging the employees to follow the chain of command. They don't just run to a board member with a complaint. We're not the judge and the jury as the board. So that handbook is encouraging the faculty to follow the chain of command.
I understand that, and I agree with that, but I think by saying blanketly, you are definitely not to talk with a board member is going a bit too far. That's my own personal opinion. Okay.
It doesn't say that verbatim, so I just think you're
Well-
taking the spirit of it wrong.
Well, there have been people that have brought it to my attention that are concerned about it. Let me put it that way.
Sarah, if I could just clarify, we have 0 complaints from the Federation or the Support Staff Association.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to number 16 then, and a superintendent's update.
I think you need a motion to table that.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry. All right, may I have a motion to table?
I make a motion.
We don't.
It's just discussion.
Yeah.
We don't need a motion right now.
It
We're
was
just
a
in discussion.
Okay,
We're not moving
Okay,
on
we're not
anything.
moving.
No, yeah.
all right. Thank you. Number 16, superintendent's update. A, superintendent's report.
Thank you. Grants update, not a lot going on in the grants world. UPK grant was submitted pending approval. Our ESSA funding was submitted pending approval. And the IDEA, 611-619 has been completed. Extended school day final report for year 4 will be submitted Monday, September 15th. And our year 5 of school year programming is underway with exciting opportunities, including photography, drama, baking, mountain biking, walking, Lego, stop motion, and more.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Meyer.
That's
Numbers-
just one slide, a few more here for you. if you
Okay.
don't mind. So our capital project and EPC update. So the proposals have been received for both geotechnical investigations and site survey at Mountain View campus. Proposals have been reviewed by the architect, who recommends awarding the following services. We did talk, this is a review of last month, the ATL for the geotechnical and the AES for the site survey, and the energy performance contract is still at state ed. The auditorium floor at Mountain View is progressing slowly, but slowly. Hopefully soon. We'll wrap that up. So you do in your board reports, the air quality reports, if you remember, we tested 4 times last year, and the last report was provided right around the time of the last board meeting. I think it was just in your folders for this meeting. And ATL, that's the company that does the reporting, they report that this round showed good improvement over previous testing. Most readings were very good, no health or safety concerns identified. No health or safety concerns identified. The key points from the ATL conversation that I had with them on August 18th, the crawl space mold at the Mountain View campus is expected and cannot be eliminated just based on the fact that it's a crawl space. The annual monitoring that, so like I said, we did quarterly monitoring. They said most districts don't even do annual monitoring, so they're suggesting that we move to an annual model is more than sufficient, and there are no issues. The Mountain View campus had more rooms with elevated readings, but there was no evidence that either campus is more or less safe than the other. The VOC levels decreased, and there were fewer CO2 exceedances than we had before, especially at Lakeview. The ongoing concerns, air movement, and I think we've talked about this every quarter that we've done this report. The air movement remains the biggest issue at both campuses. The recommendation on the way to fix that is a full ventilation overhaul, but that is very costly to do. So the recommended actions in the meantime: continue with the annual testing, use fans, open windows, indoors when possible, consider long-term ventilation improvements during the capital planning. September, we do the preliminary enrollment, and our enrollment is significantly up by 1.5%. That's 6 students, those of you doing the math on that. So if you take a look at our enrollment by class year here, you'll notice that we're at 407. And to start the year last year, we were at 401. I will give Mr. Luby a lot of credit. He gives us I think it's weekly, right? He gives us a weekly enrollment report. Yeah, which is awesome to have that. And you see, I always say we have 400 students. Some weeks it's over 400, some weeks it's a few under 400, but we have had 400 students for a while. So our enrollment, I think, is pretty flat. While I love to, say that we're up 1.5%, we're right around the same that we've been for a while now. Starting next month, you will get a monthly snapshot report. It's basically a spreadsheet from the following individuals: the principals, the nurses, the athletic coordinator, cafeteria, the counselors, the director of student support services, and the director of facilities and transportation. And this has a variety of data on there. You typically will get those a few days ahead of the board meeting. We'll give you an opportunity to take a look at what's going on around campus. So the report you get in October will be about the month of September, and November will be about October, and so on. You also will get the monthly presentations from me, and typically a monthly administrator presentation, which occurs to me. I did not ask Ms. Dixon-Cross if she had anything for this month. Do you have something for this month?
No, I mean, I'm good. The yonder pouches were a big deal. I think Sadie, you spoke to that a little bit. It went smoothly. They're kind of satisfying to open and close. There's a couple of challenges, but we're working through them. Did you want to add anything else to that, Sadie?
I think that they're not a big problem. People like them and they're using them, which is good.
Personally, I think people already seem happier, and I just think it's been a great start to the year. Lots of great personalities, and we're ready to have our best year yet.
That's great, thank you. So one of the other things I did want to touch on that is pretty important to be starting to talk about, and that is Portrait of a Graduate. And this is really kind of like a 30,000-foot view, but the board needs to start hearing this language and the community and understanding what this is about. So State Ed, the expectation was that State Ed was going to approve this in January 2026. They approved it this past July, so 6 months early, which is unusual for State Ed, but we'll take it. An extra 6 months to plan, and this will start to affect our current 5th graders when they enter high school. So that's the cohort that we're really keeping an eye on. So you could take a step back and say, well, we have time, no need to rush here. Or take the approach that we're taking with our principals and our teachers, and we're gonna really try to get out in front of this and really start to have some really great conversations. Our joint study today, we spent a good portion of the day talking about this and what it is. So State Ed is shifting diploma requirements and instructional priorities to better prepare students for college, career, and for civic life. So it's Portrait of a Graduate and culturally responsive, sustaining education. So those are the key pillars, and they're asking this to not be viewed as an add-on to what you're already doing, but to change the lens at which we're approaching education. So the main pillars here are that New York State graduates will be academically prepared, a creative innovator, a critical thinker, an effective communicator, a global citizen, and reflective and future focused. So you might see these posters around. There's really some great information. It does talk about the initiative, and we really are at the beginning stages of this process. But if you see one of these posters, I think it's worth taking a look at and getting some more information. But again, key points: graduates are expected to learn, grow, create, work, and contribute, promotes interdisciplinary student-centered learning, and the culturally responsive sustaining education is embedded within the model, preparing students for an interconnected world. So the key principles that we're working around are the welcoming and affirming environment, high expectations and rigorous instruction, inclusive curriculum and assessment, and ongoing professional learning. So those are the big pieces. And really what that means is, so we're starting these conversations, we're trying to figure out what of this are we already doing? And then what do we need to add on? How can we change things? How can we, better serve the students through this framework as we start to develop our practices? So I just thought it was important for the board to hear about. It was, like I said, it was on the front page of the Onboard magazine, and Joint Study was talking about it, but you will start to see this come up in conversation as we start to engage more people. So that's what I got. Any questions?
Yes, Dr. Meyer, the air quality testing, when is the next one scheduled?
So presumably it would be for like late this school year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only ask because the recommendations consider use fans, open windows, doors. The winter is when everything kind of gets bottled up, so that might be a good time to schedule the air quality testing.
Sure. Yeah, we can do it whenever. I mean, I can ask them, to set it up annually in the winter. It doesn't necessarily make a difference to me, but I can.
Just something for you to consider.
Did we do any improvements that you think affected the difference in the report from the last time?
I don't believe we made any major changes. I think to Jason's point, that probably was the biggest change going, that the last one being in the winter and the most recent one being in the spring. I'm sure it was the open doors and open windows.
Yeah.
Say it again.
It was collected April
Yeah.
12th.
And then I hate to agree with New York State, but I think the model is awesome. I believe it aligns pretty well with the board's vision and goals that we have, but that's something we might, that's something we might want to look at as a board down the road, is how well aligned are we with the New York State portrait of a graduate. But I think, critical thinker, the communicator, those are certainly some skills and competencies that make people successful and happy in life. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, it was a very good discussion today at Joint Study about this.
Okay, any other comments, questions? All right, thank you, Dr. Meyer. That was appreciated. Public comment. Our agenda offers 2 public comment sections. Opinions, ideas, and concerns that are offered by the public will be considered and taken under advisement. We have set aside a 15-minute period, giving the audience time to share their thoughts with us. Please raise your hand to be acknowledged by the board president. When called upon, please identify yourself, give your address, limiting your comments to 3 minutes. As stated previously, please limit your comments to 1 person unless time permits for more to occur. Also, please use the microphone provided for attendees. Okay, do we have any public comments? Yes, go ahead.
I'm Josh Kingsack. I live in Westport. I was on the building committee, and I felt that, I don't know how many months it went for, but we all came to an agreement. It wasn't the bright and shining one that I wanted, but we came to an agreement. And I understand the idea of the possibility of state aid not coming through, and we need to plan for the future. But my belief and understanding of that whole thing was to get the board on board, which they agreed to. And you all should be promoting that within our community, because that is the best case. That was the best thing that we can do for the school. And it's, in my opinion, it's not enough, but we can't go off on other tangents and ideas of putting kids in the basement. And in fact, Josh had brought up, there's a classroom in the basement. The Joe Dragon, the leader, was explicitly said that we can't put kids in the basement because it's cost prohibitive. You have to put windows in, and anytime that you cut into a wall, then you have to deal with the abatement of asbestos. And so I'm kind of lost because I spent a lot of time with people on that committee, and now I'm hearing we're planning for, other possibilities. We should be behind that 100%. And I would hope that the board would be behind that 100% because you all agreed on our recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Yes, Mrs. Broderick?
My name is Shira Broderick. I am also a resident of Westport and a parent of 2 Westport Central School graduates. Sat on facilities committee for many years for Westport Central School and the past 2 committees for Boquet Valley. Relative to the discussion of a backup plan regarding future use of district facilities, I do understand your concerns about the unknown and questions about what will happen with state ed. However, I am very concerned, and I echo Josh's concerns, that the establishment of an alternative plan will be received by some as a message that the proposed plan is unnecessary, particularly when there have been statements by at least one board member that the existing Mountain View building should be sufficient to house all current students and programs and could lead to a negative vote. It is imperative that when a building plan is put to a vote, that absolutely all of the board members vocally support that plan, and that there is no discussion of what else could we do, or that we could fit all these kids in the building as it is. It's just not realistic. And as Josh said, this is the plan that was approved by the board, and this board should be supporting that plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Mrs. Rice?
Hi, Sarah Rice, Westport. I had a list of positive things to say, but I want to respond first to the faculty handbook discussion. I mentioned at previous meetings that I don't think that we should waste time and entertain discussion that starts with, I've been told. If we can't come up with who's sharing our complaints and our concerns, I don't think it's a point of discussion for all of us. There are people sitting on this board right now who campaigned with information that was most certainly funneled from a handful of people who somehow became lucky enough to have the ear of a board member and use it to their advantage. That is more concerning to me than your faculty handbook language. And I would ask that you reach out to our bargaining unit leadership and have a discussion with them regarding how the faculty feels as a whole about that handbook. I have also repeatedly availed myself publicly to all of you to discuss matters, as have many of the veteran colleagues behind me and in my school. That has not happened. I ask that the board stop the micromanagement of educated professionals from the top down who have been carefully vetted and hired to run our district. Furthermore, many professionals in our district are fearful to stand up like I am tonight in front of this board because they fear retribution from this board. They are afraid of their careers standing up in public session and saying what I'm saying. That is becoming more obvious in each meeting. This is not what we want for our district. Furthermore, I would also like to say, please cut me off if I exceed my time. I would like to say that due to Dr. Meyer's amazing handling of our finances, we have hired an amazing number of faculty and staff, lots of energy, lots of talent, experience. We have wonderful new employees in our district. I also want to thank Dr. Meyer directly for the additional time on opening days to allow us to work on our curriculum and in our classroom. I think it launched the best school year in my career of 25 years. I want to thank Mrs. Dixon-Cross and Ms. Jesmer for visiting our classrooms. We had very intimate meetings with our administrators and our students to introduce the yonder pouches as opposed to a larger assembly. I think it worked out beautifully. The launch went way better than I thought it would. Students seem invested. And last but not least, I teach both in the middle school and the high school, and I am delighted to say that it seems that we have a group of middle school parents who are very devoted to the same mission as the district, with putting away devices, paying more attention to sports, activities. It is amazing what's happening, and I think we need to make sure the parents know that. Our kids are paying better attention, more energetic, invest in the classroom. If we can keep that momentum going with our parents, that is phenomenal and amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Thank you. Anyone else have any comments? Yes, go ahead. Debbie, you're keeping quiet.
Hi, I'm Sarah Kingsack. I live in Westport. I didn't prepare anything. I just wanted to add a little bit to the conversation about the faculty handbook. As a faculty member, I can attest to the fact that we have numerous opportunities to be on the committees where these handbooks are written. So not only can we have a discussion and directly impacting that language, but we also, as Sarah has mentioned, we have a bargaining unit. So there already is this very well-established chain of command that is there. And it's concerning to me that this policy language was brought up tonight based off of what sounds like maybe a couple of employees not going through the chain of command. And maybe they did and it got nowhere, but it sounds like the bargaining unit never heard about it. So that's a concern. But I think my bigger concern, especially as a parent, is that while we're quibbling over that language out in the greater community, I'm just curious to hear maybe at another board meeting, there can be some type of presentation about what we're doing to get the word out to the community to try and pass our capital project in the spring once it gets approved. I think that we need as much community outreach as possible, and that starts with the experts in the room who approved this plan. So I'm really curious, can we dedicate more time to talking about the capital project moving forward? I know we're waiting on approval, but that should be the contingency we have in place, is when we get the go from state ed, what are we doing to get the word out to the community so we have the best shot at this passing? I won't speak for other parents in the district, but I know that if this capital project doesn't pass, and then the alternative is just to cram everybody into the Mountain View campus as is, I will no longer be a parent in this district. I will pull my kids. It wouldn't be, and I don't believe that I would be the only person who would do that, because I know firsthand how directly that would impact, how it would negatively impact all the children in the district if we were to do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Andrew Denton. I'm a resident of Westport. I just want to share something for, well, not just me, but a bunch of other seniors. At the beginning of the school year, we were all worried about the underpouches, and we were afraid of, something that could have happened, like school shootings, like they're up and rising. So we were all afraid at first, but now that we've been in school for at least a week, we've all come to realize that they are better for us, and we are starting to like them. Like me personally, I've noticed that this year, I have been able to focus a lot more in school. I've been able to actually get down on my stuff, even though we are just in the first week, so still testing it. But yeah, I'd just like to mention that the owner pouches, they are being effective, and I think there's also a lot less drama too in school.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you.
That is great to hear. Thank you so much for that. That is very great to hear. Very encouraging. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead. And how are we doing time-wise?
We're at 10.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up, it feels like a million times someone has brought this up since I think it was only Tuesday to me, that we have been in the news like 6 times just since Tuesday for 4 wins with Cornell Cooperative Extension Science Program, School of Distinction, so that's mentoring, college and career readiness, and essential skills. Our pre-K program, our Yonder Pouches, and the epilepsy game with Willsboro. And I would just want to mention that those things don't happen without our custodians, bus drivers, faculty, staff, teachers. It takes a village. It's all positive, and it's positive engagement for kids, and that's what we need to stay focused on. All of those things, we need to just keep on going with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, Mrs. Reynolds again, and then how are we doing time-wise?
11 and a half.
Okay.
I just want to highlight something that Hayden said earlier. Hayden talked about our district being the best in the area, financial shape in the area. And I just want to point out what Josh might lack in salesmanship or showmanship. He more than makes up for with his financial expertise, his forward thinking, and willingness to learn, listen, and adapt. I don't know what the intent is, but it sure does feel contentious and like there's an intent to remove or drive him out by making him crazy. And honestly, that would be reckless of this board. The reality is that the administrative pool is shallow and no qualified leader, especially given our district's unique challenges being a merged district and with a short time with this month, with securing a building project, nobody's going to be eager to step into this, especially under a board that's overstepping, micromanaging, and fostering a hostile environment for both staff, administration, and students. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we have time for one more. Go ahead. Yes, yes.
I just wanted to keep the positive train going.
I do love a positive train. So my name is Alyssa Carroll. I'm a resident of Westport. My comment is really back to the handbook thing. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because there was a line in there, at least as I heard it, as you reading it out loud to us, that the ability of the staff to communicate to the board was, quote, not allowed outside of approved protocols. It sounds to me as if there are approved protocols. If that's the way that the policy is written, then I'm concerned that the board does not have the ability to read the policy correctly, which brings me to action item 11D, approve the board member professional development requests as presented. I'm curious what professional development this board will be undergoing, what they will be learning, and who will be required to attend, because I am hopeful that everyone here has the skills and ability to look at policy thoughtfully and correctly. Thank you.
We'll use a minute and a half for first public comment. I just want to point that out.
Okay, you said it one more or not?
No.
Oh, okay, we need to continue on then. Number 18 is executive session. Specifically, the board, excuse me? Specifically, the board anticipates entering into executive session for the following reason. A, number 6, to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or persons. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Paul, thank you. And a second? Paige, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. There won't be any action after, will there? No, there will not be any action occurring after executive session. You're welcome to stay if you'd like, or you can leave if you prefer. Okay? Thank you very much.
Audience, when I say that anyone else that was cut off from speaking that'd like to speak, we'd like to sit here.
Oh, I'll speak, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to speak.
So you can speak while they go to
I know, I can't wait for you.